Welcome to my channel. Thank you for joining me again. We have Andrew Urban today with My Urban Home Team. Thank you for joining the show today.
You're welcome. I'm excited to be here.
Yes. So let's jump right in. Andrew, tell me, what is your favorite part of being a real estate agent?
Well, it's helping my clients, whether they're buyers or sellers, realize their real estate dreams, their real estate goals. So it's a matter of, if they want to be buying something that's an investment property, or if they're selling a home. Either way, I think it's something that when I can help them achieve that and finish that off, that's a great thing.
I love that. Helping people achieve their dreams. That's awesome. And what have you learned over the years that makes you an exceptional agent?
Good question. So, in another life, I was an accountant, and I have an accounting degree, and so I'm fairly business and numbers oriented, and so I find that I can pretty easily explain to my clients why something makes sense to me is from a money point of view.
Mm-hmm.
And and then if they don't understand one way around, then I try to get to the answer the other way around,
right,
or a different way around, and just sort of to try to help them understand how I look at things. And of course, that's not necessarily always the right answer, because often clients want to look at the emotional side of things.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all very well. I get that. But for me, every real estate transaction has to make sense from a money point of view.
Yep.
And often my clients ask me, well, can I buy an investment property in Benicia? So I'm based in Benicia, and can I buy an investment property in Benicia? And I normally say to them, of course you can, but when you're buying a single family home as an investment to rent out, because of the prices in Benicia, and because of the rents that investors can find in Benicia,
mm-hmm.
It's unlikely that the property will cash flow.
Yeah.
In other words, that all your, and as a mortgage person, you know all about cash flow, but if the rental income doesn't match all the principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, and maintenance, and maybe HOA fees,
mm-hmm.
then you're not really investing. You're spending money.
Totally. Yeah, I think that's great, because a lot of times people do, like we say, marry the house, date the rate. People, it is more of an emotional connection, and I always like to say, go into a house that you love. But at the same time, I think it is very, very good to ask a ton of questions and really understand like what you're getting yourself into from a financial perspective, and whether you're pushing yourself a little too far, or you're feeling like you're right within your sweet spot. Yes, we can always refinance and drop your loan later, but until you get to that point, or until the market kind of changes, you're stuck with that. So you got to make sure that it makes sense for you and your family financially for, the foreseeable future. So I love that.
So I think the other thing is that my team and I use a tool called a visual pricing scattergram.
Mm-hmm.
If I can find one on my desk. No, I haven't had one here. So it's you create a scattergram like this,
Mm-hmm.
and it's basically price by square foot, and you plot the house that your client wants to buy or sell, and you plot nearby comparables.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you plot those, they come up on this scattergram, and you can easily see, visually see, what is it that what's the difference between my paying a certain price versus what the other houses are either selling for or that they recently sold for.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really easy to see when a house is overpriced or when it's underpriced. And so knowing that a house is underpriced, as you know, clients often would like to pay less than the list price.
Yes.
But if the house if the house is already underpriced and now a buyer wants to pay less than list price, they'll never win
Yeah.
because really the price should be up here and not down here.
Getting a
And
deal
so
already.
we try to explain that to clients to see to help them see that so that they can either realize, okay, that house is not for me because I can't afford that,
Mm-hmm.
or we need to jump on this house right away because this house is a great deal.
Yeah. That's awesome. I've never actually heard of anyone using like a visual way besides just like showing the comp properties, which sometimes is a little bit hard to understand because as a real estate agent, you're the expert and you know like what's making the other houses around either go up or down based on what's in it. And sometimes as a buyer, you're like, I don't really understand why there's a difference in price.
Right,
So that's actually a good way to
right.
illustrate it.
And then obviously the scattergram doesn't tell the whole story because you still have things like condition of the house or
Totally.
views or ADUs or basements or there's all kinds of other things that still come into it.
Hmm.
But this is a great start to help
Yeah.
clients understand where they're coming, where I think they should be coming from.
Yeah. And you did say that you're in Benicia. Where in town do you specialize? So how far out do you go?
So Benicia is not very big. I mean, it's 30,000 people, but but I actually work out of the Keller Williams office that's in Walnut Creek.
Oh, okay.
I I work I help clients in central Contra Costa County. I help clients in west Contra Costa County. I help clients in Solano County, where Benicia is, and where Fairfield is, and Vallejo is. And I also help clients in Napa County and American Canyon and Napa. So Benicia is really a great spot to be very familiar with all those areas. And I've been helping clients do this for about 18 years. So other people might say, well, he's been around the block. Well, yeah, it's I think once you've been around the block, you have all kinds of really great experiences that that make it important in how we help clients.
Yeah, and you're probably an expert on this area for sure. Which is awesome. And so I actually live in the area, one of the areas that Andrew serves. So this is a great area if you're looking to move over here. But what can a potential buyer or seller expect from you?
So certainly they can expect the personal attention of myself or at least one of my team members. And that means that well, particularly I think nowadays I answer the telephone. And I just really dislike the fact that when I'm calling maybe another agent, they don't answer the phone because, and they might be busy, and that's legitimate, of course.
Mhm.
But I think it's really important to answer the phone. And so I answer every phone call I get. And it means that I end up with a lot of spam calls,
Mhm.
unfortunately. But for those clients that where I answer their call, they are typically delighted that I'm actually answering the call and that they actually can get the answer to a question that they're seeking.
Yeah.
And I think that's the main thing that it's the main thing that drives me crazy. And so when it drives me crazy that I can't speak to someone when I really would like to, therefore I try not to have that happen to others.
That's awesome. That's the personal touch. And a lot of times I say this a lot, but this is more than likely the largest purchase anyone will make in their entire life. So it is awesome to have, someone like you said that picks up the phone and like when you're freaking out or you're like need a question, because this is sometimes a stressful process. It's good to get in touch with someone and, be reassured, have your questions answered, and you can move forward. Because this is, a big commitment. So that's awesome. I like to hear that. So what are your thoughts of the current market? I know it's starting, I've heard whispers, it's starting to heat up. As a lender, I can tell you rates are starting to go down. We already know that the Fed said they're going to drop, the rates a couple times this year. But what are you seeing out there in your open houses or even, with your buyers? What's going on?
So we're definitely seeing a lot more buyers who are searching, who are looking, who are prodding around, trying to figure out, okay, is this the right house for us? And you mentioned buy the house, but date the rate. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the main point. At the moment, there are quite a few buyers who are looking for a limited number of houses that are available for sale.
Yeah.
And even though the number of houses that are for sale at the moment have increased by, I think, more than 10% compared to last year at this time, it's still a very small number of homes that are for sale. And so when the rates really decline, and I think they will, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Then a huge number of buyers will suddenly come out of the woodwork. They'll suddenly be interested in buying a house because now the rate is perhaps at their sweet spot where they can afford the kind of house that they like.
Mm-hmm.
The issue is when that happens, suddenly a whole bunch of buyers are looking at a limited number of available houses.
Yeah.
And so that kind of supply and demand imbalance will drive prices up because you have to bid more in order to win that house that you really like.
Mm-hmm.
So you're bidding more because you want that house, but now you have a higher mortgage because you have to bid more. Why don't you just
spend the money now?
why don't you just spend the money now? And if and when the rate declines, then come back to you, Martiana, and refi.
I absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. And you're walking into equity that for some people that may have bought in the last couple of years, they had to sit in their houses for a little while to get that same return on their investment that you're walking into, because the house prices are going to start to shoot up as we see that competition come out the woodwork. So you heard it here, folks. Just so you know, it is the right time to buy. If you can afford it, if you find a house that you love, jump on it now before everyone else starts to come out and we get back into a bidding war situation where there's 20 plus offers on every single house.
Right. And the thing is, you're always having to deal with the law of attraction. The law of attraction is that as soon as you like a house, so do a number of other people.
Yeah.
That's how it works. So you're hardly ever going to get away with, oh, nobody else likes this house. It's just
oh yeah. Especially with limited inventory. I mean, you really aren't going to see that situation. That's so funny. Yep. Well, you answered my next question was where do you think the market is going, which you said like we know that the rates are going to go down. We know that house prices are going to go up. Is there anything else that you would like to tell any potential real estate agents out there that are just starting their career or any sellers or buyers out here in our area?
Certainly. I think it's really important that new agents begin to work with a brokerage that has the capacity to train them, because the real estate exam teaches you some basics about real estate, but doesn't really teach you how to do business. Doesn't really teach you how to exactly to write a contract. And so it's really important that you work for a brokerage that will invest the time in you. And of course, it's a two-way street. You have to invest the time in the brokerage and to learn the items that the brokerage is teaching you. I mean, Keller Williams is a fabulous example of a learning company, a training company that will teach new agents, provided that you go to take the courses.
Mhm.
And they're all pretty much free. I mean, it's just a matter of you have to invest your time. And one of the great things about Keller Williams training is that a lot of the courses are taught by people like me, who are experienced agents who work based on a curriculum, based on the material that the company knows it wants to teach new agents and less experienced agents.
Yeah.
And so then we teach the curriculum, and then we can add our own experience to what it is that we know about how to help clients buy and sell.
Oh, that's great, because you get a little bit of real life experiences in there.
So I think going to a company that has enough capacity to teach you is really important.
I agree. So before we end, I have to ask, Andrew, how do we get in touch with you?
Well, you can find me, luckily, because I've been around for a while, you can find me on the web. If you just Google my name, Andrew Urban, or if you want to ring me on the phone, you know I'm going to answer. If you ring me on the phone, it's 707-738-7545. Or you can send me an email, andrew.urban@kw.com. And I'll be happy to point you in the right direction and try to figure out what's best for you. And believe me, I don't try to rush anybody into anything, because that's not what it's for. It's for explaining, it's for showing, it's for teaching, and it's for making our clients feel comfortable.
Absolutely. Education is so powerful and so important.
Yep.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much for joining me, Andrew. It's been a pleasure to talk to you. I am excited for this next year and what it's going to mean for our little area here around here.
Definitely.
It's going to be a great year. I feel it. A lot of people are going to get into their dream home, and Andrew and I are here to help you. And thank you guys for joining our channel today.